You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
Trying to make sense of the world? You've got Nightlight with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach.
Call our toll-free number now.
Headlines, culture, and real conversation.
And now, our feature presentation.
Here's Pete and Greg.
Welcome back to Nightlight with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach here on the Civic Media Network. We're so happy you're joining us here in hour 2 of the program. Had a great first hour. If you've missed any of it, simply go to civicmedia.us/shows, look for Nightlight or any of the programs you're interested in, download episodes and catch up. Take them wherever you'd like. Listen to them as a podcast. We'll be right there in your pocket. Join us for the live stuff. Have a great time. So happy you are a part of it today with us. Folks, we had a really good first hour, had a lot of fun, but we're looking forward to a fantastic second hour. We'll be getting to your comments on our question of the night, which we'll get to in a moment, but then we'll be also English, interesting. We'll also be speaking with our guest tonight, Felipe Torres Medina, an award-winning humorist and writer. He's an author, and he was a writer for The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. We'll be talking about his experience there, as well as his book, America Let Me In, Choose Your Immigration Story. That's all coming up in just a little bit, and then we'll wrap everything up with the nightcap. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a good time here on this Wednesday edition of Nightlight. Don't forget, folks, tomorrow we're going to have ourselves the Nightlight Movie Club, and this time we're talking James Bond. This time we're talking the 2006 Casino Royale, starring Mr. Daniel Craig, the first and controversially blonde Bond.
Forgot about that.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about that in the second hour, so watch the movie. Let us know your thoughts tomorrow. We'll be having a great time with that. And for all the folks out there who participated in the Accelerate Your Summer multi-state text-to-win contest, thank you so much for participating. You have another chance in the 7 o'clock hour to get a keyword in. Make sure you have that Civic Media app. Make sure you have it tuned to your favorite radio station like WAUK. And then you can simply enter the keyword for your chance to win $100 and a Wisconsin Dells prize pack, including a grand prize entrance for $250 in gas, $250 in groceries. That's all coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. Then it starts all again tomorrow. 7 more chances for the Accelerate Your Summer multi-state text-to-win contest. Speaking of the app, that's a way you can get in touch with us. That's a great way to do that. Make sure you get that on your device. As we said, you need that for the contest. But before we talk about how to get in touch with us, let's talk about the question of the night. Dom?
Let's talk about the question.
Okay, question.
Question. Question.
Pregunta.
Question.
Question.
Hey, I have a question. Questions? This question.
Domanda.
Question.
Questions.
The question of the night is, what natural disaster freaks you out the most? Let us know by calling or texting. The number is the same, 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. You can leave a comment on the live stream. We are currently streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and the platform we still call Twitter. Also, again, as I said, you can get on the Civic Media app. You can call, you can text, listen live, get news stories. It's really great. It's absolutely free. And if you ever want to email us, Nightlight, NITELITE, at civicmedia.us. Go old school. Let us know your thoughts on a topic, a guest, how we're doing. Even if you don't like us, we read them. We take them to heart. But that's right. Nightlight at civicmedia.us is a great way to also get in touch with us. And so let's kick it off. Pete, what about you? What is a natural disaster that scares you?
Well, I think, you got your basics, right? Your floods, your landslides, your avalanches, tsunami, hurricane, tornado. I forgot about wildfire. That scares the living daylight. Like if I was in a wildfire, Greg makes light of my fears, but that would freak me out. And I think winter. I think a bad blizzard, the idea of freezing to death. And I knew somebody who, I don't know if you guys remember this storm like in 2010 or 2009, where people in Chicago, I was reading about this because I still lived in sunny California. I was reading about this horrible storm. People left their cars on Lakeshore Drive. One guy who was a family friend walked out of a bar because he wanted to see this phenomenon and drowned in snow.
What?
Yes, it was, you get disoriented. It's like flying through dark. And I think I think either a blizzard, the extremes, a horrible blizzard or a terrible wildfire, both awful ways to go.
That's a good one. I saw a few years ago in Atlanta, they had something similar where there was snowfall, and in a lot of those southern cities, they don't have the ability to plow. They don't have the equipment because they don't generally need it. People just left their cars on the freeway, and they were like, we'll come back tomorrow. It's fine. I'm like, no, okay, cool. Can't you guys just invest like maybe something for like one plow for the freeways? But yeah, I mean, that's absolutely craziness. And what's interesting, you say that drowning in snow reminds me of a statistic that our old friend Brittany Merlot gave me when we were talking about snowfall, which was 1 foot of snow equals 1 inch of rain. So when you think of something like, 4 or 5 feet of snow, that's a lot happening right there.
That's insane.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's winter freaks me out just because sometimes it's just too cold. We shouldn't be out there. But Dom, what about you?
Well, first off, I was a part of that blizzard in 2009, and yes, it was very, it was bad. It was very bad from what I remember. But I would say, oh man, I was gonna say wildfire, but I think I have to also go tsunami too. Tsunamis really freak me out because there's so much like. Nowadays, there's so much coverage of them, so I see them. You see them all the time. Yeah, they're just so scary. I've never had to deal with one, but I would be really freaked out if I ever had to. It's no.
I feel the same way about tsunamis because I feel like it's the second thing that comes. Like you see things like earthquakes or hurricanes, and then like it goes out to the ocean and something happens, and they're like, and a tsunami's coming. It's like one natural disaster that follows another one. So yeah, tsunamis terrify me. So
I did laugh when Dom said I was part of a blizzard, which I was going to say you were a snowflake or what?
You worked at Dairy Queen?
Come on now. Yeah, I
just take the thing and just turn it upside down. Be like that.
Greg, what about you?
I just said it.
Oh, that was your okay.
Yeah,
I just thought you were making a comment of the residual.
Oh no,
I agree, and a tsunami is terrible too because. I think I was in my 30s before I really knew what that was. And there was one in the news over in the Far East one happened and people didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And a guy I knew here is like, well, didn't they know that the water's, I go, no, if you never had experienced one, you wouldn't know what was happening, you know?
Also, you should never approach a natural disaster where people are hurt, displaced, and or killed with that kind of attitude. Like, what are they?
Awful.
What are they supposed to do? Like, get in a plane and all leave the entire country? My goodness, people.
Exactly.
Speaking of the people, what are the people saying on the text line regarding our question of the night?
We got quite a few. We got Brett from Brown Deer saying, I've been in a few of these storms like a tornado and a hurricane, but the one that would freak me out the most is a volcanic eruption. Okay.
Oh, that was on there too. Yeah.
That's one I feel like I could escape. I feel like I could escape that one.
I don't know.
Because of molten lava's slow pace?
I feel like I could outrun lava.
But for how long? Lava just keeps coming though.
If you get to the high ground though. Just get to a high ground, like get to a roof of a building. Take me to the closest Jimmy John's. Just get to the top of the roof, and there you go. And lava can't touch me.
It's like a slow tsunami.
Jimmy John's typically one story though. I would aim higher.
Never know.
Literally. Yeah.
All right. Brett also said, "Put money in my pocket. I'm going to the Dells, and my wife is $100 richer. Easiest $100 I have ever made, and I didn't have to get naked to make it." Okay, Brett. There we go. Bada boom.
Thank you, Brett.
You don't ever have to get naked.
Sometimes you just want to.
I guess so.
Worst natural disaster? All right, we got Tyler.
Me naked.
Wearing a bathing suit in the shower.
All right. We got Tyler listening on WMDX says, earthquakes, I like the rave environment of a good storm, but at least I know it's coming days out. Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also have Karen from Racine says wildfires are very scary. There we go.
Wildfires. Sorry.
We got let's see. We got John from Madison texting and says for Pete and Greg, one of which would be rough in the heating climate: polar slide sloshing the big ponds.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't understand that either.
One is which one. I don't know what that means, John. I need clarification. John Murray above him too from Madison says tsunami or flood.
Tsunami or flood. Wow. And then
flood's scary.
John also is saying, but the big killer Diller is an asteroid hit. Okay.
It's not the only one to say that, by the way.
Where else?
Did you get?
You'll see.
Was there thievery at play here?
I think they might have
No. It's just a common thing, like being hit by an asteroid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a common thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
A common fear.
Does it feel like you're the only one that hasn't been hit by an asteroid this week?
Have you recently been hit by an asteroid? Well, call Deloitte and Ribbons. We're here for your asteroid
Oh,
needs.
Lionel Hutz.
Sorry, I apologize. I was trying to be funny there. Fail.
We still got a few more John Murray texts. He says, "Here comes the decade of the coldest winter ever, Peter. You are right. Winter is the scariest of them all."
It's awful.
Because your
scary.
first you was Peter. I'm always like, who's he talking to?
I know. John is one of the few people that calls me Peter, and I'm okay with it. Not that I wouldn't be, but yeah.
And he also says the winter kills almost everything. 400,000
We need to start
people.
taking John Murray's text and just slamming him into one big text.
Like an asteroid.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll do it right now. The winter kills almost everything. 400,000 people plus Schwaba and cockroaches and bed bugs survive. And then he says the Burl Ives snowman from Rudolph will not be cruising around and making us smile.
Dude, John's on fire
Okay.
today.
Wow. Okay.
He's on wildfire tonight.
Just cause it wildfire. I request that song as a bumper. Pete, what do we have on the Facebook page? We'll get to more text in a little while, but let's get to the Facebook.
We've got Scott Tom, one of my favorite Madisonians, says, earthquake in Shaky Town. We got a big old convoy. Ain't she a beautiful sight? No idea what that means, but thank you, Scott. It's always great to hear.
People are just speaking their own language tonight.
This is stream of conscious text night tonight. Mike Desatel says, my sister passing gas. Wow.
Oh, boy.
That's some serious wind in that house. All right. Thank you, Mike. And then Ian MacArthur put a laughing thing like, don't laugh at the fart jokes, Ian. Come on. Mike's better than that.
Fart
Vince,
jokes are funny.
Vince says aging. Oh, I'm with you there. Robert Bro says global warming. I don't know if that's a natural disaster, but yeah, it could be. Sure. Sean says populism.
Oh, boy. Okay, now
we're philosophical.
Yeah.
And then Amanda says, a sinkhole can happen anywhere at any time for any reason. No one knows. I'm scared now.
That's true. That scared me.
Ian says solar flare. Layman Rob says with work ice storms.
Yeah. Yep. He does a lot of work outside.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. And then Andrew Brown says Trump's 250 concert. The big 250
concert, more like a rally. Am I right?
He's just going to talk. Yeah,
he's going to talk. He's going to recite his poetry. So
prepare to be dazzled.
Sydney Politics on the live stream says, I used to think the movie Twister was about a sentient tornado that was attacking people, and that set the stage for my fear of tornadoes. Happy New Year. I saw Twister in the theater when it first came out, the original, and I will say this, it was so well done with the sound, I thought a tornado was going to rip the roof off of the actual theater. It was so impressive yet scary.
Which has happened, actually. During a tornado, a theater got its roof ripped off. I can't remember when that was, but yeah, that's pretty scary stuff.
Very, very scary stuff. You know what isn't scary, though, guys?
What?
Our next guest coming up in just a little bit. See what I did there? That's called a segue.
That was an amazing segue. Wow. Well
that
done.
Was
and he's going to talk about, you know who he's going to talk about or who he used to work for, Greg? Steve Colbert.
Steve Colbert. Oh, I love Steve Colbert. All right. Well,
no relation to Steve Wonder.
Stevie Wonder's real name? Steveland, by the way. All right. Coming up after the break, we're going to be talking to Felipe Torres Medina. He's an award-winning humorist, author, and former writer for The Late Show with Colbert, talking about his book, his time on the show, and what's going on in his world. Very excited to talk to him again, but that's all coming up right after the break, so don't go anywhere. You are listening and or watching Nightlight with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach here on the Civic Media Network. Stay tuned. Stay close.
You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
Welcome back to Nightlight with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach here on the Civic Media Network. If you want to get in touch with us, it's that easy. Simply call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Leave a comment on the live stream. We're currently streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and the platform we still call Twitter. Still ahead, we'll be getting into the nightcap where we will read more of your text messages and talk about what we have learned. So stick around for that. But right now, very excited to bring on our next guest, actually our first guest for the evening. He is an award-winning humorist. He is an author of the book America Let Me In, a choose-your-own immigration story. And he is also a former writer for The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. He joins us via the live stream. Felipe Torres Medina is here. Good evening, Felipe. How are you tonight?
Hi, guys. I'm great. I'm happy to be here.
Excellent, excellent. I talked to you, I believe, last year when your book was coming out. It was great to talk to you about that. And when everything went down with, I don't know if you heard about what happened. I'm sure you did, with The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, of course. But I wanted to have you on the show to talk about.
Wait, what happened?
I mean, they just told you it was vacation, didn't they? Okay, sorry, buddy. Okay,
why doesn't my key work?
Yeah.
But I wanted to have you on to talk about this because it's, it's still very fresh, but it's kind of like an unknown situation for a lot of people with regard to what exactly happened. But I mean, you were a writer for The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. How long did you work there?
I worked at The Late Show since October 2019, so about 6 longish years, like 6 years and a little bit.
Yeah. And that time you were a writer, and I mean, I actually saw you on the show. He had you on as a guest to talk about your book. It was great. And it was like, after we had you on the show, I'm like, Felipe, see you do stuff on TV and whatnot. And it's that weird thing of like, they're on your show once and you feel like I'm in their fan club now. But, can you, I mean, I know it's fresh and I'm sure it doesn't, the whole situation is terrible, but can you kind of give us a brief overview of just your experience with what happened with regard to the cancellation, finding out to where you are maybe today and, how you are dealing with it, if you will?
Well, I mean, the reason we were canceled, and, you can choose to read into a narrative or not. Like, I mean, the official reason the show was canceled is that apparently it was no longer making money for CBS. And that is the line, a purely financial decision is what they have said and repeatedly claim was the reason for the cancellation. And I don't like, I will stick to the line that was the official line.
Mm-hmm.
But, people are entitled to their opinions and to have their thoughts based on the actions of the network and the new owners of the network. But I do think, like, at no point was it communicated to me that it was for any other reason. And at no point was it, I was just an employee at the show. I was not privy to any of these conversations. In terms of like how it has been, I mean, it was, the show's great. The show was an incredible show. The show employed 200 plus people in the city and the state of New York and New Jersey, the New York metropolitan area. And we had the best in the business, I will say, like truly the best in the business in every, like at every part of the operation, So it was incredible to be able to work with people who were truly the best.
Yeah.
And everyone from props to interns to graphics and editors and and then there were the writers, but that we were just a little part of a beautiful machine that was making incredible stuff every day, which to me is the most cool and the beautiful thing that we were doing, is that it was every dang day we were putting on a little miracle that was this show that was like perfectly polished and sometimes imperfectly polished, which kind of gave it a little bit of comedic sheen. So it was great. And obviously Stephen, who is like the best person.
Felipe, it's so great to have you here. I have questions about the actual gig itself. I always found that to be, like, probably in show business, one of the most intimidating jobs. You have to come up with stuff every day, monologues, sketches, like it's a breakneck pace. But I'll get this question out of the way to stick with what Greg's point was about the cancellation. What did that do to the writer's room, the mood, when you guys knew you show up to this job you love? What was the mood like after you found out? And was it hard to be funny?
I don't know. I mean, surely there were moments where like we were sad, or personally I was sad, and obviously it was a shock because the show, it was #1 in ratings at like in its category. You know, we were beating Kimmel, we were beating Fallon, we were so like shock obviously was the first emotion. I do think when you're doing a show every day and you're at that level of professionalism, you kind of don't have time to feel too much. And so we were like, as you said, it's a breakneck pace. We were doing so much, and so much was happening in the world. And you know, the mandate of the show, as Stephen always said, was to talk about what people were talking about. And so it was fast, but we didn't have time really to commiserate too much. We just wanted to have fun, and I think maybe that was the point, to have as much fun as we could with the time that we had. And I think we did that.
Excellent. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, just as a viewer, it seemed like it was a blast from all the things. And we'll talk more. I want to talk more about that on the other side of the break, but we're going to take a really quick moment to pay some bills. We are speaking with humorist, author, comedian Felipe Torres Medina here on Nightlight with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach. Stick around. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Stay close. Welcome back to Nightlight with Pete Schwaba here and Greg Bach. I'm Greg Bach too. Sorry, I'm on the show as well. We're here on the Civic Media Network coming to you live from all over Wisconsin. It's the Yatter-Hay Triangle. Thank you so much for joining us. Do not forget, we'll be back tomorrow as always. We'll be speaking to Logan Rogie, Senior Communications Specialist with Travel Wisconsin, to talk about what to do, where to do it, and in Wisconsin in the summertime. And then we'll, of course, be doing the Nightlight Movie Club. We'll be talking about the 2006 Casino Royale, not the 1970s version, but that's going to be in the second hour in our Nightlight Movie Club, so join us for that. And do not forget, also, after the show is done in the 7 o'clock hour, you will get the final keyword of the day for our Accelerate Your Summer multi-state text-to-win contest. All you need is the keyword, the Civic Media app, and your chance to win $100 as well as a Wisconsin Dells gift card. Or, sorry, Wisconsin Dells prize pack. I can talk. I swear to God, everyone out there, I know how to speak. It's been a day.
You're doing great, man.
Thank you. Thank you. That definitely feels so supportive right
now.
That
condescending enough?
There was so much energy in that. You're doing great. But right now we are talking to Felipe Torres Medina. He is an award-winning humorist, and that's how you know someone is not just funny but smart, when they have the word humorist next to their name. He is an author of the book America America Let Me In, a choose your own immigration story, which we're going to talk about in just a few moments here. And he was also a writer for The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And like one last thing I wanted to ask with regard to this show, I really think folks should go out there to YouTube and watch the best of the worst, because something you said earlier, Felipe, is you get a very good sense of that from that episode, the entire family of the show, the work that everyone puts into it. And I thought that episode was really great because, you know, he was paying tribute to all of you while totally making fun of everybody. But it was great to see just who is part of that family. But the question I have for you as a writer, when it's time to write the final episode or come up with the idea or like start to craft that, what does that look like? Is it just a whiteboard and just 1,000 ideas? Or was it thought about in Stephen's head and he said, this is what we're doing?
I think a little bit of both. I think once we knew that we were getting canceled and we knew that we were going to have to do a final show, there was a little bit of like blue sky conversation, like what would you like to see? You know, there was a lot of pitches that each one of us, there were 12 to 14 writers, and then there's like writer producers and stuff like that. I think each one of us like had several stabs of like the idea of like, what do you want to see before the show ends? And a lot of that stuff ended on the show. A lot of stuff didn't end on the show. Some stuff ended on the final episode. Some stuff ended on other episodes, you know, as we got closer to the end. And of course, Stephen had an idea. At some point, Stephen like had an idea of what that finale should be and what it should look like. So it was a little bit of both. And, you know, that was like, I think what made it so fun is that we were all like, it was complicated because it was like we were thinking about the end in the downtime kind of that we had, but you know, we still had to do a show every day.
Yeah.
You know, and we still had to like do today's show. So that was a huge commitment on both parts from like Stephen and the writers and everyone else on the show, really, of like, okay, we're trying to do this thing. but also we gotta have jokes for today, and we have a second act that's comedy for like next week, and we have to fill that somehow. So it was really cool, but yeah, it was a little bit of both, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Felipe, late night TV, that's just, it's part of America. We all grew up watching Carson Letterman, and now Stephen Colbert. Talk about, if you would, your background. What led you to a job? Like I said, the pace, I'm a writer myself, but I was always intimidated. I don't know how you guys do that, coming up with stuff every day, the monologue jokes and all of that. What was your background and what got you to The Late Show with Stephen Colbert?
So I did not grow up with Carson because I was born in Colombia in South America. And so we sometimes got Letterman, and it was kind of like the show that we like, The Late Show. It was kind of interesting that the one I grew up watching was The Late Show, and it's the one I ended up writing for. So we would get The Late Show with David Letterman, and it was kind of like when I was sick and I couldn't sleep, I would like turn on my TV with the volume really low and the TV in my room and watch that. And then I eventually we watched SNL. We got SNL in Colombia, but it wasn't live and it wasn't on Saturdays. So it was more like Tuesday night, 3 months later, rather than Saturday Night Live.
Saturday night, not live.
Yeah, exactly. And it was on Tuesdays, so it was funny. And so I think that was like my first exposure to like Update, was my first exposure to like topical jokes like that. Now there were some like satirical shows in Colombia that were very good that eventually stopped. And so I think that was also part of like my background. But then once I moved to the States, my background, I trained at the Upright Citizens Brigade, which is like one of the biggest improv and sketch theaters in New York, which is founded by Second City people, basically. And so that was my background. I would, and once I moved to the States, I consumed all the shows. And growing up as a teenager in Colombia, I would watch the Colbert Report and the Daily Show on cable. So I think it's, the traditional late night, we kind of got Letterman a little bit. Then I watched Update. Then I graduated into the Report and the Daily. And then I moved here, and then it was like, well, I watch all of it, Yeah. And yeah, so that's my background.
That must have been something when you walked into the writer's room for the first time on The Late Show, given what you just said. That's so great.
That's very,
Yeah, it was really, really exciting.
Well, and so that leads me to my next question here, or just my next point, is the fact that, you are from Colombia, you immigrated to America, and the reason why you came onto our show last year was to talk about your book, America Let Me In, a Choose Your Own Immigration Story, which I've now listened to twice. It is a phenomenal book. It is so funny, but it's also so meticulous in the journey, not just the immigration journey, but the immigration journey for this person and the immigration journey for that person, having to do with your status. Can you talk more about, what led you to, to talk about your own immigration story is wonderful, but to do what you did, which was to really do some hardcore research into it, what led you to say, I want to write this book instead of the typical memoir?
I have always thought that my life is not that interesting. So I was like, I don't want to just write a memoir because that's not that interesting. Like Malala should write a memoir, and she did. But, that's the people whose memoirs I would read and I would be interested in. And I was like, I'm like, I have overcome some kind of difficulty, but, I'm not going to compare myself to anyone who actually has had to overcome things in life and has had a story that is good and everyone should know about. And so what I was interested in was the fact that I think the most interesting thing about my life, especially as an immigrant in the States, was that I had to explain my very well-meaning, mostly liberal friends in New York, like Bernie voters, kind of like in 2016, that the entire premise of their immigration system, when Trump was going out there and being like, they're not sending their best, people were like, well, they should just do this. And I was like, well, they can't There's no right way to come to America. And also, Bernie at the time in 2016 was talking about getting rid of the H-1B program, but not suggesting the H-1B visa, which is the normal work visa, but not suggesting an alternative, while he was campaigning. I was like, what are we doing? What is Trump is saying this in one end of the political spectrum. Bernie is saying this on the other end of the political spectrum. And everyone has an opinion on immigration, but no one knows what they're talking about, And so to me, that was like a dominant thought, basically since I moved to the States. And so when it came to writing the book, I was like, well, how can I write a story that actually makes me laugh, but actually informs people of their own immigration system? And so I found this kind of like multiple paths kind of form where I could create multiple characters living different kinds of visas and different kinds of immigration journeys.
Yeah.
And that's how we did it. That's how I ended up going into this.
It really is great, folks. I honestly say get the audiobook. The audiobook is fantastic. All I'll say is The Lawyer. That's all I'll say. You'll know when you listen. So,
our guest is Felipe Torres Medina. He is the author of America Let Me In, a Choose Your Immigration Story, and he is a former writer for the The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Let's talk about the writing process, if you don't mind, Felipe. We were talking about this breakneck pace of jokes and monologue jokes and sketches, and then you write a book, which is a lot more, I would assume, tedious, or maybe something you just weren't used to writing. What was more fulfilling and what was more fun in terms of writing for you?
I think they were both incredibly fulfilling. I think the biggest thing that late night writing does for a writer is just speed and the ability to just write and throw jokes away and kill your darlings and be like, this joke was good, but it's not good enough. All right. Or it's not for today. Goodbye. And I used a lot of that muscle and those skills when writing the book, because in the end, the book was following the same format as like a show like ours did, which was you get a data point and then you find a way to jokify, right? To say something funny out of that. Now I added a layer of comedy and stories to frame all these data points, but a lot of the book, there's certain parts of the book that are just like explainers on different kinds of visas when I'm not telling a story. And those were just like, that's the same mechanism I did to write monologue jokes for the show. Here's a data point, then a joke. Here's a data point, then a joke. And so in that sense, it was very similar. The thing that was crazy is how much slower the pace of publishing is. And so I remember being like, okay, well, I guess I wrote this joke and now I have to wait for my editor to read it. And, it'll be 3-4 weeks. And that's fine. Like I wasn't expecting them to read it faster. They had other projects to work on, but it was like, but why isn't one of the funniest people alive, Stephen Colbert, telling me that this joke works 40 minutes after I wrote it? Like this makes no sense.
That's great.
That's amazing. The breakneck versus the page, it's got to be a very weird place to go. And we don't have enough time anyways, but I'm not going to ask the question, so what's next? Because I'm sure you're just getting yourself in a place of making those next moves. But I'll tell you what, when you're doing something next, when something comes up, you got a new gig, whether it's a book, a show, whatever, please come back and talk to us about that, because it's always great to talk to you. And I really look forward to seeing what you do in the future, Felipe.
I would love to come back. And thanks so much for those nice words.
Of course. Felipe Torres Medina is a humorist, a writer, author of America Let Me In, a Choose Your Immigration Story. He has been our guest this evening. We're going to take a really quick break. When we come back, we're going to go into the nightcap, wrap things up about our thoughts, as well as your text messages on our question, what is the natural disaster that scares you the most? But you stick right here, because you are listening and are watching Nightlight with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach here on the Civic Media Network.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
It's time to wind it down. Let's take a moment to look back and ask, what did we learn today? This is Nightcap with Greg and Pete.
All right, folks, welcome back to Nightlight with Pete Schwaba and Greg Bach here on the Civic Media Network. You can always get in touch, 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Leave a comment on that there live stream. We're currently streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and the platform we still call Twitter. We are officially in the Nightcap, where I don't know why I said it louder and louder right there.
Let's go.
It's the Nightcap. So welcome back to the Nightcap, where we read your text messages and we talk about what we've learned. Ooh. See what I did there? There you go.
I feel like I should be holding a cocktail.
I really feel like
doing that.
Yeah, and we should actually get smoking jackets for this segment.
Sweet.
And bring the
pipe?
dim the light. Oh yeah.
Bring my jammies.
Love it.
Yes. You said the most childish thing right there. I'll bring my jammies.
In case you have to tinkle. Yeah.
I'm wearing my onesie with the poop shoot. All right, folks, we're going to get to some more of your text messages and thoughts on our social media as well as the text line. Folks, by the way, follow us on social media. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. You can follow Civic Media's YouTube page, too, to find out more about what's going on here at Civic Media. But let's get to more thoughts on the question of the night. What natural disaster scares you the most? Dom, who do we have left on the text line?
Our good buddy Chris Casper said, y'all classify puddles as lakes, just saying. Ooh. I'm guessing he's referring to fibs.
Yeah. Chris, you classify the Vikings as a football team. I said what I said.
It is on.
All right.
Yeah. There you go.
A duel.
He probably would agree with you.
Yeah. And then he went on to say, large extinction level event asteroid. Okay.
That doesn't frighten me because I'll be dead most likely.
That's a long
and
time ago.
if we can see it, it's still light years away. You know, with all the technology we have, it still scares me. Don't get me wrong.
I said this to Bridget a couple years ago. I said, how amazing would it be to be on this earth when something like that happens? Like, this earth is many billions of years old, but you are on earth when it finally happens. That feels like I don't know. If you're going to go,
privilege,
go out
gift.
Big.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
We got Nick from Marshall saying, of course, wildfires and horrible blizzards, but I think active volcanoes. I knew you'd say that. But I think active volcanoes would be the worst, or tsunamis.
Gotcha.
Very true.
Okay.
We got John from Madison saying, to clarify from his previous text in the first hour, since I was texting while driving. Oh, come on,
John.
When the polar caps slide out of position. Okay.
Ooh, that'll do it.
Right, makes sense. Yeah. What else we got here? We got Brett from Brown Deer saying, you can't outrun a pyroclastic flow from a volcano. That hot ash is coming at you over 100 miles an hour and will cause your lungs to explode from the 1,500-degree heat. Okay.
You know what, Brett?
Take that, Greg.
Hey, Brett, how does it feel to be a know-it-all professor? Good Lord, just trying to live my life.
It's pretty impressive.
This next one's the worst one, though.
And then
this is terrifying.
Andrea texting in from WMDX says, drowning under the ice on a lake. Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be
because
my nightmare
you have
tonight.
the time. You're looking up at the ice, going, "Oh no!"
But if you can find a hole in the ice, there are ways of getting out.
If you're Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible.
Okay, all right. I can't outrun a volcano. I'm certainly not Tom Cruise.
We got Mary from Tosa texting in saying, natural disaster freaks me out while driving along and dropping into a gigantic sinkhole, natural or man-made, from messing with the environment. Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
And we got Whistler from Richland Center saying, worst feeling sometimes, spirits from the large cemetery east of me. Shiver me timbers. I don't know. Okay. All right, Whistler.
He's a pirate.
He's a pirate. We got Melissa from Willie Street texting in, says, here's my ridiculous natural disaster is a zombie apocalypse. Thankfully, someone gifted me the handbook to survive it. Thank you.
I feel like that's not a natural disaster. It's more of like a scientific disaster. But I feel like the amount of John Murray, Melissa from Willie Street texts that have come in over this topic, they talk about this a lot.
Then look what he said. He said,
it's a topic.
Yeah, he said,
over dinner.
My darling wife, Melissa, on Willie Street, almost got hit by lightning. Hit the door behind her as she entered. John was in the doorway, and and it was a really bright flash. Fried the oven, microwave, washer, dryer. Wow.
Oh, man.
My dad got hit by lightning once. It was weird.
Jeez.
Whoa.
Yeah, still getting...
That would be a bad one, too. These are just bad ways to die, though, too.
Yeah. Now we're not in natural disasters anymore. We're just on how you might die.
Wow, still got quite a few here.
Yeah, we got a couple more. So
let's jam.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Let's
Melissa,
jam it out, yeah.
Melissa from Willie Street says nuclear winter. Trump would call his nuke launch a natural disaster, so the math works. And boy, I'm going dark. I'm done.
Yeah, you guys really are.
Yeah. We got Dave from Madison texting and says another poorly managed pandemic. Okay.
Yes, that terrifies me.
Yep. And then Mark from Sac says magnetic pole flip. Is that a natural disaster? I don't know what that means. But and then Wizard said a follow up. Isn't death part of natural occurrences? It's true.
Ooh,
it's true.
that really is.
I've
What
got
else
one
we-
more on Facebook
Yeah.
here too. Jim Celovich says meteor destroying Earth. A lot of people scared of meteors, and I could see
Seen
it.
a lot of movies. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
Really quick before we get out of here, Pete, what'd you learn?
I want to be a humorist. I want to be an esteemed author. No, I learned that Felipe is a great guy, and what a genuinely decent, seemingly decent human being. Grateful and uber talented too. It was fun to meet
Felipe
him.
is fantastic. Seriously, folks, pick up his book, and I really suggest audio version because it's great to listen to. America Let Me In, a Choose Your Immigration Story. Dom, what did you learn tonight?
Stephen Colbert is also a great guy, as said from
Yeah.
Felipe. So very awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
And I learned too that Nick on the stream wants Dom to know who Sergeant Hulka is. So
I see. I didn't know who that was.
Just watch Stripes.
Okay.
watch
All right.
Stripes for sure. What about you, Greg?
I learned that this show is awesome. We roll with the punches. We have a great time, and it's really fun. And the people listening and responding is what makes me smile. I already knew it so much, but I needed it today. So I'll just say that. That's what I learned in this moment today. All right, folks, we got to get out of here. Don't forget, after we are done, will be the final keyword of the day for the Accelerate Your Summer Text to Win multi-state contest. Got to have the app. Text in the keyword for your chance to win $100 and a Wisconsin Dells prize package. Plus, you get entered into the main contest, $250 in gas, $250 in groceries. So good luck. Stick around for that. And then 7 more chances tomorrow. So we'll be back tomorrow talking to Logan Rogie, and it's the Nightlight Movie Club, Casino Royale. Let's get out of here. Pete,
Yes.
say goodnight to the people.
Good night, Wisconsin.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.